All right, everyone. Welcome to Nerdcamp Sports. It is Monday, July 6th. We are all here in the building. It's been the first time all four of us have been on the screen to start the show in a very long time. Um, it's been a minute. It's been a minute. But y'all know who we got Raj here, we got R&B and Coach Will. How's everyone doing? And what's everyone's mental scale of 1 to 10 today?
I'll go first.
Go
Doing
ahead.
pretty
Whoever
good,
wants
man.
to go.
Yeah, doing pretty good. I'll say about a 7. Just
Okay.
just glad to have those few days off. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, man, ready to rock and roll and talk about this thing.
All right. All right. How about you, Will?
I'm good. I'm good. Tired, as y'all can tell, but
What you hear?
a strong 7.5. A strong 7.5.
All right. All right. R&B, how about you over there?
Uh, I'm a little tired, man. If I'm gonna be 100, my mental, I probably say I'm about a 2. Just being honest, but I'm making it though.
Well, all of us on the panel know why, and that's even that is higher than I would expect. So, we're praying for you and your family.
Definitely,
But we're glad you're here.
Yes,
You
absolutely.
sir.
know, we're glad you're here. So let's just get right to it. To what's being called arguably the worst trade ever by some. By some. Some are calling this the worst trade. And the people are calling for Brad Stevens to be traded or to be fired. I've heard Celtics fans so upset over this trade. And just so I have the particulars in front of me, let me just get them so I can read them out loud because I don't have them here. But we do know that Jaylen Brown was traded to the Philadelphia 76ers. And essentially, oh my gosh, come on, why are you acting up? There we go. There we go. Okay, now we're cooking here. This thing is just acting all crazy. There it is, trade. So Jaylen Brown was traded to the Philadelphia 76ers in exchange for Paul George, 2 first-round draft picks, and 2 second-round draft picks. And it caught me by surprise. Like, really caught me by surprise. Wasn't really expecting him to go there. So, Will, we're going to start with you today. In your opinion, Jaylen Brown to the Sixers, does that improve their chances in the Eastern Conference towards a championship?
Does it improve the Sixers' chances?
The
Is that what
Sixers'
you're asking?
chances, yes.
Yes. Um, Easy answer for that.
Okay.
If it's okay with you, where I would like to go with this, because y'all know I was on record as saying that I was really concerned about the Sixers. You know what I mean? Off
Mhm.
season, because they had what I consider to be the 2 worst contracts in the NBA with Paul George and Embiid, and I was on record as saying, like, what the hell are they going to do, and how are they going to get off of one of these, much less both of them, whatever. And then here come the Boston Celtics gifting their rival, the same motherfuckers that just put them out of the out of the playoffs last year. Like,
Yep.
again, like, I appreciate and respect the question that you asked me, but I have to go elsewhere with this right
Go
now.
for it. Wherever you need,
You know,
wherever you feel you need to go, bro. Go there. I'm
uh, again, as a registered Celtic hater, y'all know I be on my fuck Boston, fuck San Antonio, fuck the Bulls, fuck Utah shit. Because of my Pistons and my 80s Pistons ties. I got the ultimate respect for the Celtics organization and how they've been run over the course of my basketball life. And in particular, you know what I mean, over the last 15 to 20 years or so. This is easily, by far, the worst Celtics decision that I've seen in my 44 years, you know what I'm saying, of loving basketball the way that I do. It makes absolutely no sense to me. I do understand that they kind of painted themselves into a corner because, you know what I mean, they halfway went after Giannis. You know what I'm
right.
saying? And when it didn't work out, now you dealing with the backlash of, and again, this is not the first time that they've dangled, you know what I mean, Jalen in trade talks. And not as a guy who has been kind of underestimated, you know what I mean, for the most part, you know, the better part of his career. And when y'all did win this championship a couple years ago, he was the one who was Finals MVP. And nobody, you know, most of us don't think that he's a better player than, you know what I mean, Tatum. But he was the one who kind of stepped up and stepped in. I guess why I say most of us, you know what I mean? Some people do. Most of us don't. But like you keep playing with this. I find myself talking about this a lot. You playing with people's names and reputations, man. You know what I'm saying? And you play with them. You've played with that man's name and reputation multiple times. And when he was finally tired of it, you had to sell for pennies on the dollar. Pennies on the dollar. You know what I'm saying? You didn't get nickels, quarters, and dimes. You got pennies. All due respect to Paul George. You know what I mean? But you know what I mean? With the context of what we're talking about here, like, I don't know what the hell Brad Stevens is doing. Maybe it's because, you know, Boston did get new ownership a couple of years ago. And again, we keep seeing with, you know what I mean, the new ownership in the NBA, the younger ownership in the NBA the last how many ever years, maybe the last 15, 20 years, you know, the numbers, the analytics, the data, like, you know what I mean? It's all very, very much data driven. And, you know, we've all heard that they just, you know, with him having a super max deal, it's not that he's not, you know what I mean, a top 10 to 15 player in the NBA, but the data may not suggest that, you know what I mean. For me, it's the basketball of it all. It's the basketball of it all. Boston didn't seem to respect him and appreciate him, much like the greater basketball, you know what I mean, community does not. And again, he did what he did this last season, showed up, showed out. He's tired of, you know what I mean, the slander on his name. He's tired of being dangled. I understand that there was a part of it where, you know, they boxed themselves in. They gave him a whole lot of leverage. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Not that it wasn't earned on his part, you know what I'm saying, but they gave him a whole lot of leverage in the way that they've handled, you know what I mean, their professional relationship with him. But it is, you know, part of me is happy to see Boston doing dumb shit because they don't do it a whole lot. You know what I'm saying? Especially when Danny Ainge was running the organization and, you know, Brad Stevens to a certain degree, we didn't see them fleece a lot of people. It's part of me that's happy to see that, but just my basketball mind is like, what in the fuck are y'all doing over there? You know what I'm saying?
That's
what
a
the
fact.
hell y'all got going on, man?
Yep. So you bring up the organization. So I want to kick this question to Raj. Jaylen Brown has a podcast. I don't know what it's called, but I do see him talking up there and on Twitch. Yeah. We do know about I've seen two different things, and maybe the one's older. You know, him and Stephen A have had their back and forth, of course. But one thing he went on there and said recently was that the Celtics didn't tell him anything. The Celtics didn't say anything. They didn't call him. They didn't inform him. They just traded him with no explanation, no heads up. Now, I will say that I'm sure he speculated, of course, because his name has been in trade rumors for the past few years.
Right.
But based off what Jaylen Brown is saying, let's just say for a moment, everything he's saying is 100% true or close to true. And even in general, based on the situation, how bad does the Celtics organization look right now for doing this and handling it the way that they did?
Of course, they look horrible, and it exposed what we already knew about the Boston Celtics and Boston sports in general, that they don't like people that don't play along and get along. Jaylen Brown is a very intelligent person, intelligent black man. You know, he's very well articulated. He's very well calculated. And to be quite frank, Brad Stevens was very intimidated by it. You know, this isn't the first time that, you know, we heard there was riffs about him being traded, like you mentioned. And it's been multiple, pretty much quote unquote, dangling of the carrot with Jaylen Brown since he pretty much came to the team. You know, they always looked at him as being like the plan B for the attack on the offense. So when it boils down to it, this injury with Jason Tatum was unexpected. The season before last, and also what was unexpected was that Jaylen Brown led this pretty much G League Boston Celtics to a playoff breach. You know what I mean? And that was something that Brad Stevens did not have in mind. He was like, "Yo, what are you doing? We supposed to be tanking." So that pretty much killed the whole entire plan that they had with this new ownership, and it made them look stupid. You know, to answer your question, it makes them look extremely stupid. But one thing I know is that Brad Stevens, one of those type of guys, if you watch the press conference that he had about this trade and talked about, Paul George, Brad Stevens, one of those type of guys that think he knows it all. How about that? I'm putting that on record. He act like he know everything. He act like he's the smartest dude in the room. But in reality, he's made some bonehead decisions like this one. This ain't the first bonehead decision he made. I mean, bringing Kristaps Porzingis to the Celtics was a laugh out loud moment too. So with that being said, the Boston Celtics is a joke, and they're lucky they got a championship, and they're lucky that Jason Tatum's still on the team, because he didn't communicate with them either. He said, "There's no need for me to communicate with Jason Tatum. You know, we made our decision." You know, I'm kind of paraphrasing, but that's pretty much what he said during the press conference. So with all that being said, you know, and I'm not trying to get us canceled. This guy's an asshole. You know what I'm saying?
It is what it is.
And that's like the least I got to say about him, because, for him not to communicate to his two star players, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, and still make this move and then bring on Podcast P. This is the first time we ever seen two podcasters get traded, ladies and gentlemen. You know what I'm saying? I hope the people watching understand there was a bigger trade going on. That was the two podcasters get traded. And it's just sad, man. But shout out to the 76ers for standing their ground and get rid of that contract with Paul George. And also shout out to Jaylen Brown, man. First, last but not least, because Jaylen Brown, he's a class act, bro. He really is a class act. And I'm very proud of him, because he showed that even in the midst of being disrespected, you can still do it in a very tactful way of getting back at these people. So I appreciate him, man. And the last thing I'm going to say about it is that Jaylen Brown is not a part of that good boys club either when it comes down to agency. I don't know if you guys remember, but when he took his Supermax deal, I think of $304 million, he pretty much negotiated it himself. I think him and his lawyer pretty much put together something, and they negotiated. So there's nobody getting kickback for those type of big cash either. So that also played a factor in the contract and longevity of him being tenured with the Boston Celtics.
That makes a lot of sense. I mean, I think that for for the Celtics organization. It's like, like Will said, he alluded to, like, they don't make a lot of mistakes or bad trades, or just bad decisions. They're generally a smart organization, but they just pulled some Portland Trailblazer decision out right there. I mean,
Nah, they pulled a Nico Harrison.
like I just
Nico
don't.
battling right now.
I just don't see how you allow that to be, and you move forward, and how you move forward from this. So with that being said, R&B, how do you feel this trade shifts the balance of the Eastern Conference, and where does that leave the Celtics? Because like you alluded to, Raj, about the deal, or maybe Will alluded to the Paul George deal, getting away from it. Well, Jaylen Brown doesn't have he has a big contract himself. But be that as it may, where do the Celtics go from here? It was two-parter. How does this stand up for the Sixers moving forward in the East, and where do the Celtics go from here? Because in my opinion, the Celtics are now further away from the championship.
Well, I think I'll start with with the 76ers first.
Okay.
I think this instantly slides them right into the upper echelon of the Eastern Conference as title contenders. We seen what they did last year, being injured and hobbled, and steroid accusers being suspended and all types of shit like that, and they still, finagled their way to where they were, and knocked off Boston in the first round like they did. And man, I was just sitting up thinking about that shit. I'm like, now you got Maxey, you got VJ Edgecombe, you got Jaylen Brown, and then now you talking about Embiid, which you hope can give you 50 games, 50, 55 games. If you can tell me that this team can stay healthy, and when I say team, I don't mean Embiid, because I think it's just a foregone conclusion at this point that this dude is going to have some injuries throughout the season. But for him, more so, if he can stay healthy in the playoffs, like with the combination of Brown, Maxey, Edgecombe, and a healthy Embiid in the playoffs, that's scary for the rest of the Eastern Conference, man. That's a scary look for the rest of the Eastern Conference, especially if Philly decides to make more moves and continue to fill this roster out. I think the sky's the limit for them. On the other end with Boston, I'll say this. I definitely think that they kind of took a step back making this move, honestly. And not only do I think that they took a step back making this move, I also think that this is going to be a big year for Jason Tatum, and it couldn't have come at a worse time, because we all know, his struggles last year coming, being out with the Achilles, making a little surprising comeback there at the end of the season to gear himself up to play in the playoffs, and played. Started out a little shaky, then looked like he gained a little form, and then next thing you know, he pulled a Kawhi on us. I think he had like 27 in that one game, and then he just disappeared, didn't play again. And we know what went on to happen. So with that being said, with Jaylen Brown doing what he did this year with the Celtics team, and now being gone, and now the expectation is that Jason Tatum will come into this season fully healthy. It's gonna be a lot on his shoulders. It's gonna be a lot of expectations coming his way. And as far as also with the Boston Celtics organization, these fucking idiots, bro. Yeah, I said it. They some fucking idiots. I saw a report, a true report, that these motherfuckers actually made a statement that the reason they moved to trade Jaylen Brown was because they felt like they valued. They said they saw more value this season in Derek White. They believe that Derek White value wise had a better season than Jaylen Brown. A nigga who shot 30-something% from three. Come on, bro. Like, what are we talking about here?
But that's what I was alluding to when I was saying that at this point he is a super max player, but it's a lot of people who analytics wise, numbers wise, say that they're not saying that he's not, you know what I mean, an all-star caliber, top shelf player, but that he doesn't bring the. And again, this is my thing with analytics. I'm not anti-analytics, but look, Jay-Z is my second favorite rapper of all time. One of my least favorite things that I've ever heard him say is men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. Numbers don't lie, but they don't tell the whole story. You know what I'm saying? And this is where I feel like we find ourselves with Jaylen Brown. It's certain things in not just basketball, baseball, football, soccer, whatever sport it is you want to name. There are certain things that they are hard to quantify. They are hard to put a number on. They're like, you know what I mean? It's esoteric. It's, you know what I mean? It's not a physical thing, but it's just when we talk about clutch genes or whatever the case it may be, it's certain things that we don't have numbers or stats for. Jaylen Brown is the personification of that. Like, you know what I'm saying? The numbers don't necessarily tell the whole story of what he brings to your team and to your organization. Go ahead.
I was gonna say it's a lot of truth to that too, but the thing about it is that why they look so stupid though is because you had damn near every network this year coming out basically saying is Jaylen Brown the best two-way player in the NBA from the season that he was having. And now you try to give us this bullshit excuse that you felt like you valued Derek White more, a dude who had a career worst field goal percentage shooting for his this season.
They gotta pivot because they done already tried to trade this man multiple times and now they have to have something to say. You know what I'm saying? And again, they're gonna try to use some numbers. They're gonna try to use some numbers, you know what I mean, to justify it or whatever the case may be. But again, like, nah, bro. All due respect to Derek White, like, you know what I'm saying? Nah, fam. Right. I get this, you know what I mean? The new salary cap and the first and second acre, I get all of that. Nah, bro.
Right.
Nah, man.
They ain't gonna go on there and just tell the truth or whatever. So, but that's pretty much where I'm at on both of those ends of the spectrum, Mike.
The front office people are only totally honest about the shit they get right. They never come out and are 100% honest about the shit they get wrong.
Facts.
Well, and I'm glad you said that because my thoughts are like this. First of all, you traded Jaylen Brown. They wanted to do this, regardless of how it looks. They wanted to trade him. We didn't know when it was going to happen, but they wanted to trade him. That's number one. My whole thing is you trade him, not even just in the conference, in the same division.
And like, a rival.
And a rival that you just lost to in the
playoffs. Literally just lost to.
So, you know,
this is worse than KD going to Golden State. I don't care what nobody say.
No.
Organizationally, you chose this.
Well,
organizationally, you chose this from the top down.
Via trade, I will not disagree with that. But KD was a free agent, therefore he chose to go there. It'll always be the worst.
And I stand firm on. I don't agree with the notion that it's cool when teams make trades, but it's not cool when players make wise decisions for themselves. Because when a team makes a trade, they typically doing what they feel is like in their best interest. But when players do it, It seems to be an issue. So I don't, I don't subscribe to that.
The only thing I'm gonna give you pushback on with KD specifically is if he weren't up 3-1 on that team and then lost to them, I wouldn't feel the same way. But the fact that you was up 3-1 on that team, lost and then went there, that's the irritating part. Or had they have not played them, would it look like a bitch move? Sure. But you just lost to them when you were up 3-1. That's my thing.
Look, again, there's part of me that holds that against KD, but again, Boston just did the exact same thing as an organization.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? That's worse to me. Because organizations want, again, to the point I was just making a minute ago about front office people. Organizations want the credit when they want the credit. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. They want you to be loyal when they want you to be loyal. When that shit sound good in a motherfucking news clip, but it's business when it's business. And again, an organization just made a business move that I'm sure a lot of their fans are unhappy with. But they just expect motherfuckers to be cool with it because it's business.
I'll say this to kind of go off of that real quick, and I'm not going to be long.
No, do your thing.
I agree with that 100%, and I'm glad that he said it this way because I'm so sick and tired of these analytical people trying to make excuses on why they get rid of players because they did the same thing with Luka, right? So with that being said, it's almost like they're laughing and they're pretty much playing in our face. And when it boils down to it, that what happened in Boston is going to set them back at least 5 to 10 years. And I'm not even using this as a hyperbole take. I'm saying this because when you look at the efficiency and the impact that Jaylen Brown, you guys just said it. There's unquantifiable things that Jaylen Brown adds to the team that no other player adds on that team right now, right? So if you add that in, plus the injury that Jason Tatum had, there's no way they're going to be able to go right back into that playoff contention spot or top 4 like they were last season in the next couple seasons. They're not going to be able to do that, especially with the team they built. They got Podcast P on the team, man. This is crazy. This is insane.
Well, that goes right into – go ahead.
The last thing I'm going to say, and then on top of that, plus the way that they play, between Brad Stevens and their head coach, what's his name? I try to erase his name.
Joe something.
Joe Mazzulla.
Joe Mazzulla. Both of those guys are the biggest assholes in the NBA. Pause. But I say that because they're so focused on analytics and numbers. These freaking nerds are so focused on that. They're not looking at what really works. They took 53s in their game 7. 53s.
Can I say one more thing real quick, Mike?
Go ahead.
I know we want to say that they pay attention to analytics and numbers and stuff like that. And don't get me wrong, they are. I'm not saying that they not. But let's just keep it a buck here, man. This is our own platform, so we can keep it real. This shit ain't got nothing to do with analytics and none of that shit. He's a black man that sees the world in a lot of the ways that I see being a Hebrew Israelite. And they don't like that shit. That's why that movement gets shit on and pushed to the side because they don't want black people to have knowledge. They want us to be stupid. They want a bunch of Anthony Edwards and John Morant acting thug niggas that they can control though. They don't want the John Morants that they can't control. But they they want the thuggetry and the ignorance and the shit that these dumb motherfuckers look up to. That's what this is about. This is a black man that they couldn't silence, playing in a racist ass Boston at that. So that's mainly what this shit is about. And I think it might have been some underlying friction there between him and Jason Tatum that they just never really talked about or brought to the forefront until as of recent when he made the statement that he made at the end of the season, and then the media decided to take it and run with it with the way they wanted to versus how he meant it. But at the end of the day, it was never about analytics and none of this shit. This is a black man playing in a racist ass town to which he won a championship for and won Eastern Conference Finals MVP and Finals MVP for, and it wasn't their chosen yellow son, Jason Tatum. So they did not like that shit, and that's what this shit was about.
I 100% agree that there are a lot of people who who don't like, you know what I mean, his confidence and speaking his mind. But I feel like if this was one of those kind of moves, they would have did what they did to Mahmoud Abdul Rauf. They would have sent his ass to Sacramento, because Sacramento is where careers go to die. Like he got sent. He got sent to one of the biggest markets to play for a team that now everybody is expecting to compete for a championship, which in theory, you know what I mean, if it doesn't give him a bigger platform than what he had in Boston, at least it's on the same level. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I feel like if they was coming for his career, he gets traded to Sacramento. You know what I'm saying? Because Sacramento is where careers go to die. I feel like Boston really did feel like Boston feel like they getting off of a headache for them, but they also did, they did him a solid. Like, they didn't have to trade him to Philadelphia. I'll be willing to bet that there were better deals out there available for Jaylen Brown than what they got than getting fucking goddamn podcast P. You know what I'm saying? Podiatrist P. You know what I'm saying? Wow. It's some draft picks that's gonna end up being late first rounders anyway, because they in the next couple of years, and we all expected Philadelphia to be competitive.
But also another thing to think about too, you got to think about what we all been saying. It's a business, money, ratings. Now you got a potential Jaylen Brown versus Jason Tatum 4 times this season.
Yep.
It probably gonna be one of the Christmas Day games. You know what I'm saying? So you ain't gonna tell me the NBA ain't had a fingerprints on
Philly
the
and Boston is depth. You can put that. You can, you know what I mean. That's in ink. Like, you know what I'm saying. You can stamp that. Philadelphia and Boston are playing on Christmas Day.
That's gonna be a good
and whoever LeBron signed with is playing the Lakers. You know what I'm saying?
And the last thing I did want to say was the other thing about it. You got rid of Jaylen Brown, and on top of that, everyone did not pick Boston to do what they did last season, myself included. I believe Boston was going to be a bottom feeder, 7th place playing team, and Jaylen Brown went out there. We had set it up before. He couldn't go left. He learned how to go left.
Yep.
He didn't know how to be an MVP caliber player. Guess what he did this season? He was an MVP caliber player. So you gave that up. You gave him up, right? And then you took Podcast P, who was suspended for 25 games for steroid use, if I'm not mistaken, was it?
Percocet P.
Perk P, baby. Perk P. The guy who has been traded for multiple championships and finals appearances. If once he leaves, the team gets near the finals, in the finals, wins the finals. So to me, Jaylen Brown going to Philly, not wise on Boston's part. You could have sent him anywhere else. Probably got more back besides an aging, broken down Podcast P or Percocet P or whatever you want to call him these days. But we're gonna see. But we gotta keep it moving. Gotta keep it moving because these topics are heavy. I'm all in for actually Nah, we gotta skip. We gotta skip Kawhi for now, just because we gotta talk about the Lake Street Boys.
Oh man.
All right, let me just say, bro. Every time you write that name, I laugh. Like, yo, I don't know why that shit is just so funny. The Lake Street Boys. It is hysterical. I'm just like, damn. It's so befitting.
The Lakers on their best gentrification shit right now, bro.
Yeah.
Hey, they might as well move back into the Forum, bro. they gentrifying like a motherfucker.
They might as well move back to Minnesota. This is crazy.
Absolutely. So we know that Kessler, and I apologize because I don't have it in front of me. I just know he was traded and that was it. So okay, the Los Angeles Lakers. Oh no, it doesn't say what it was. Okay, so he was traded. Was it first round picks here? Okay, yep. So
2
it says
first round picks, right?
Walker Kessler from the Utah Jazz for unprotected first round picks in 2031 and 2033 and first round swaps in 2028 and 2030. And he will sign a 4-year, $130 million deal with the Lakers, including a fourth option for a fourth season and a full trade kicker. Along with that, Lakers. Oh, never mind. That's something different. So the Lakers, they needed a big man. They know what they needed. But in the midst of it, one thing that I read with this trade was that now the Lakers have 0 first round picks for the next 7 years.
Yep.
So, Raj, I'm going to start with you on this one.
Yes.
How do you feel this trade works for the Lake Street Boys? What are some of the pros and cons of this trade, in your opinion?
Well, let's start off with the pros, right? Rob Pelinka's getting exactly what he wanted. He wanted to put a boy band together. He got it. He got Luka Doncic. He got Walter Kessler now. He got Austin Reeves. Who else did they bring on? They brought a few others on.
Colin Sexton. They signed a couple other good people too.
But the moral of the story is they brought a whole bunch of dudes on. They drafted a whole
Quentin Grimes too.
Quentin Grimes. They drafted who they wanted, and they traded for who they wanted, and they got rid of DeAndre Ayton, and they got rid of what's the other center's name? I just lost his.
Ayton.
No, Ayton, and there was another center they had on the Lakers that they got rid of. He went to another team. He ended up with another team. But the point is, the pros of it is they got what they wanted. The con of it is they're going to be bottom dwellers for the next, I would say, probably 5 years, 5 seasons. And the reason I'm saying that is because there's no athleticism, there's no defense, there's no rim protection. Even though Walker Kessler is like 7'2", there's really no defense behind him, because if there was, he'll still be on the Utah Jazz because they're in desperate need of a big man. So with that being said, this team is ass. Let's just be honest, bro. This team is ass. And I feel bad for Luka because I don't know if he's pulling the strings in the back or not, but Luka ain't got no support. If you ask me, if you took both of these teams, right, and compared them to each other, you take the Dallas Mavericks and you compare them to the Los Angeles Lakers, you say, okay, who's going to be further the next 5 seasons? You know I'm picking the Dallas Mavericks because, number one, at least they're making the moves that's possible to bring in athleticism, defense, and scoring. Dogs, they brought in the worst of the worst free agents I've ever seen. Laker Nation is pissed because they like all of this just to have absolutely nothing. Y'all got rid of LeBron. LeBron ended up leaving because this whole situation was already it was already written on the wall. And now all of a sudden, you guys ain't even got stuff together for a championship run team. This team is ass, man. That's all I gotta say. This is probably the worst team I've ever seen in Laker Nation.
Well, and it's rough because when you look at there's certain franchises, right, who no matter what, their history automatically invokes a championship persona, right, or at least a championship mentality. So, like with basketball, obviously the Celtics and the Lakers are the top two that come to mind. No matter what, who's on the team, that's just the persona they've gotten. San Antonio had that for a while, and now it seems like they're getting that back. Chicago had that a long time ago. It's just there's certain teams, and in all sports that have that persona of that. You know, R&B.
Hmm.
In your opinion, going forward, what other moves can the Lakers do, or should they attempt to do to get this team moving forward? Because what they have ain't gonna get the job done. Just piggybacking off of what Raj's take was.
First thing they need to do, I think, is they need to find a replacement for Rob Pelinka, as I've been
Mhm.
calling for his job damn near since he was hired. I'm gonna say it once. I mean, I've said it once. I'm gonna say it again. I believe, and this is just my speculation and belief,
Okay.
that Rob Pelinka is fucking Jeannie Buss, or Kobe was hitting it before he passed away. Rest his soul. And we all know that Pelinka was Kobe's guy. Cause I don't understand how this dude is still the GM of the Los Angeles Lakers after all of this time. He has done a horrendous job in my opinion. He's been trash. The moves that he did make that were good moves were moves that were like playing with the trade level on rookie. People gifted him deals. It's like, oh shit, well yeah, what I'm saying, it's a no brainer. So that's the first step, in my opinion, is finding a replacement for that fucking bum. Outside of that, I think you got to try to mimic what you saw Dallas do when Luka was there. Luka needs shooters around him, and he need rim runners around him who can run screen and rolls at a high level, or pick and pop at a high level. And that's where you get the best out of Luka, being able to score and find teammates. And what I'm saying, you just gotta see where it go from there, man. Because I just don't, especially when LeBron decide not to come back, I just don't see any good days coming for the Lakers. You know what I'm saying? Outside of the fact that they got a player like Luka, and hopefully Austin Reeves wasn't a fluke, but I really don't. Outside of what they need for Luka to be the best Luka, that's really all I can give you on that question. I really don't know the moves that they can make going forward, because it's really not a lot left. You know what I'm saying? People have made most of the moves. We know a lot of these teams like to have their rosters filled out, at least,
Right.
for the most part, by the summer league games, and the summer league games have started. I don't know if y'all saw my boy Darren Peterson too, just on the
Oh, he
side
went
note.
off.
Did you see him? Did you see him?
Oh, absolutely.
Did you see him? But listen, stay tuned. Stay tuned. But
Mhm.
if you're getting back on track, I can't tell you, Mike, to be honest with you. But I think it started with Rob Pelinka. It
So
started with Rob Pelinka, man.
let me ask you another question then. Do you think
Hmm.
this team right now puts them closer to the championship than the team they had last year?
No, simply because of no LeBron.
Mm-hmm.
If you go get Kessler and a couple of the other acquisitions that you made, and you still bring LeBron back, then yeah, you're probably right there in the mix. I'm not gonna say that you're a ultimate Western Conference contender. I still think that belongs to your San Antonio Spurs and the Oklahoma City Thunder. I think those two are the ultimate contenders in the West. But I think if you get a LeBron back with the acquisitions that you made, that you're somewhere in the mix. But I think, and this the crazy part. LeBron has put out that he's willing to take a veteran league minimum contract. That money isn't his motivation for this contract, and he still don't want to go back to the Lakers. So that means that they would be able to afford him if he wanted to come back, and he don't want to come back. And I think that he's fed up with it. I think he's tried what he could try while he was there, and bring this player in, bring that player in, which some of it did fall back on him. That didn't work. You know what I'm saying? He wanted JJ Redick to be the guy as well. I think JJ Redick is kind of panning out to be a pretty solid coach so far, but overall, it just the organization is in a it's tough to gauge them. They like right now they kind of the middle child. They in the middle. They not in a bad spot, but I don't think that they're in a good spot either.
Yeah. And I mean, we're going to talk about LeBron a little later. But to me, LeBron, in my opinion, now, you know, every team LeBron goes to, there's criticism, but criticism or scrutiny, depending on which word you want to use. I feel like with the Lakers, he faced the higher level of scrutiny because, once again, that championship persona is important. And although technically he won one there, a lot of people would say he didn't win one there, that he would still need that, you know, elusive non-bubble championship or non-Disney championship. You know, same thing when they won the cup. You know, people were like, oh, I don't want to hear this is a fifth ring. Like, bro, he knows it ain't no ring. He knows it ain't no ring. Like, y'all need to stop like overselling this shit. Like, relax. The man can't fart without someone being upset. Like, Jesus Christ. My God. So, with that being said, Will, from your perspective, where do the Lakers fall in the Western Conference, and what is your expectation from them as they are currently constructed?
I'm gonna say this. I typically don't lean into like people really lean heavily on outliers a lot of time in basketball. So, you know, before Golden State won their first championship, Barkley was the champion of, you live by the three, you die by the three. You can't win the championship as a jump shooting team, which wasn't true because the Pistons, you know what I mean, in 89 and 90, like they were not a back to the basket post up team in that way. They had people who did post up, but they were a jump shooting, driving, slashing team. You know what I'm saying? People be saying shit that's not true all the time. Having said that, two things.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of possibly the 50s George Mikan Minneapolis Lakers, I cannot recollect the NBA team that won a championship with three white dudes as their best players.
We talking about a league before black men with George Mikan.
Even with, like, and then, to move that forward, like, just off the top of my head, again, and we talking about 80 something years of the NBA at this point. So Mikan, George Pettit, Bill Walton, Dave Cowens, Bird, Dirk. Am I missing anybody? Like, as far as white dudes that actually led their team to an NBA championship? Is it anybody that I'm missing?
Some on the modern day era?
No, I'm talking about in the history of the NBA.
Joker.
Yeah.
Joker.
And you mentioned Dirk, right? You said Dirk?
I said Dirk.
Okay.
So that's what,
it.
7, 8
that's
guys?
it.
That's 7,
Yeah,
8 guys in 80 something years. So if I was a gambling man in that way, you know what I'm saying? Maybe I would throw a little something on it, because you know what I'm saying? Like, the odds are in my favor. Shit. But
think about all of the black players that was on those teams of the players that you named too, outside of a Mikan.
No, absolutely. That's why I made the differentiation between, you know what I'm saying, like the three best players and then like the best player. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
That's why I was clear about that. But honest to God truth, man, like unless they just gonna go out there and score 150 points every night, you know, I don't know. I don't. It's some, you know, it's gonna be a lot of nights where that happens. But when they need to lock down and clamp down, who gonna do that for them? Like where is that coming from? When they need a rebound, when they need to stop, you know what I'm saying? All those
Right.
little things that add up to wins, especially when we talking about, you know what I mean, in clutch time and in playoff games. Who's going to do those things? There's
Right.
nobody that's going to do those things. That's my concern about that team. They
Yeah,
are
they have
like
no
super,
scrappiness.
it's super highly skilled. Like you know what I'm saying, offensively, absolutely. When it comes to trying to get a stop or trying to get a rebound, or you know what I mean, getting a deflection, or you know what I mean, making them take a tough shot or whatever, like all of that other shit, all the dirty work shit. Where are you getting that from? That's my concern for that team. Where are you getting that from? So again,
And
you
that,
know, kind of, you know, I think it might have been Ryan. It's like, you know, it's, again, you know, look, Luca is the kind of dude where you know, shit, we done seen him show up in the finals in a season where we didn't really expect him. Like,
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying? So,
right.
like, you know, yeah, like, can he get you there? Absolutely. But what with this iteration, would I bet on it? I'll take the odds. You know what I'm saying? You know
Well,
what I'm saying? If I'm putting a couple dollars down, I'll take the odds. But
right.
you know what I'm saying? Like I wouldn't bet my check on it. You know what I'm
I feel
saying?
you. Well, I
No.
look at it like this too. Like, R&B made the point about, still having the Western Conference belong to SGA, and the Thunder, Wimby, and the Spurs. Because to mesh your points together, who's gonna stop Wimby on that team? Who's going, or
Or
you can't
Joker.
really stop him. Stop him. Slow him down. There's just, and Luca is such a liability defensively.
Mhm.
Like, he really is. The man does not. He'll throw up a 50 piece, but he just doesn't play defense.
Might be
You
the
know,
Cave
Austin
of
Reeves,
75
Austin
on the
Reeves
other
is
end.
too.
Mhm.
like, so.
They
Go
hold
ahead.
they hold potential starting five is
That's
weak
what I,
defenders if you ask me.
that's what I'm saying. Like I don't, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't even with, you know, again, I get he a big, you know, but he's not a rim protector like that. He's
No.
not a guy that's going, you know what I mean, make
No.
everybody else
He's
on
an
the floor a
offensive
better defender.
yeah,
Like he's not that. Like
he's
you
an
know what I'm saying?
offensive guy.
Yeah, that's why I was
To
saying
me
like if they
to
gonna
me,
go,
yeah.
if they gonna, you know, if they gonna
I
drop 140 and 150 every night, then yeah, okay. You know what I'm saying?
I, I I I think Raj might agree with this. I think Kessler is a watered down Paul Gasol with a jump shot.
I agree. I agree. And he
He's a
doesn't
watered
play
down
enough.
Paul Gasol with a jump shot.
I agree. And he doesn't play enough games. Last season he played 5 games. Season before that 58. Season before that 64. The most season I think he played was his rookie season at 74 games. He
Yeah.
played like 23
I'll
minutes
say
a
this:
game.
when it comes to Utah, you can't necessarily, you know what I mean, use games played because they've been trying to get the number one pick for fucking
Yeah.
28 years.
That's a
Like
good point.
since you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like
That's a good point.
so,
Like 28 years.
no, but no, they had to pay marketing. You know what I mean? They had to get marketing in the bag to be like, hey, nigga, chill. Cause we gonna trade you somewhere at some point. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But we, you know, we ain't trying to have you running like no, like for real. Like Utah get away with it because they ain't fucking Utah. They Utah. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If a lot of other teams was doing the shit that Utah do, oh my god, like shit.
Yeah.
And, and I know Raj got to get in here, but I just wanted to say this one little more thing too. That's what threw me about that whole trade when I heard that the Lakers were talking to Utah, I said to myself, like, okay, they might be about to try to go and get Lauri Market, and that might look like something because at least I know I'm gonna get some defense out of Lauri, and I know what he can do on the offensive end of the floor. And then I seen Cody Kessler, and I was like, bro, what the fuck?
You know who running Utah front office, right?
Danny Ainge.
Danny Ainge.
Okay.
Danny Ainge's son got
Yeah.
the title, but Danny Ainge is working with him. But Danny Ainge be out here getting niggas like
Fleecing.
Danny Ainge is Omar from The Wire, nigga.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like Danny Ainge is Omar from The Wire. And when it comes to the Lakers, he ain't doing them no favors. That's part of what concerned me about that shit too. I don't think Danny Ainge is gonna be trying to do them no favors.
No.
Well,
Straight fleecing.
And that's the thing. Like, when you're looking at this, I believe that the Celtics and the Lakers are in far worse positions than they were. And it seems like most of the teams that have won recently are far removed from like the playoffs or from the finals at least. Or, I mean, you look at the Raptors, and obviously we're going to get to them shortly. They haven't been back since Kawhi was there. The Lakers, they went, the bubble year. They didn't go back. What was 21 was what, the Bucks, right?
Yeah.
Miami
Heat had a reset, all that.
Miami Heat was in there a couple times. Who won in 22?
Golden State beat Boston.
Beat Boston.
Yes.
Golden State ain't been back. Then after that, was it Denver?
Yep. But see, that's the thing. Like again, like the way that the CBA is now, it's designed for
that.
You know what I'm saying, parity.
A different
Like you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean. If you keep your team intact, it restricts your ability. You know what I'm saying, to move forward. Like you know what I'm saying. So like it inherently distributes talent throughout the league in a way and takes away teams. Like we were just talking about Denver, last week or the week before. And and they had to move on from Michael Porter Jr. Like, you know what I'm saying? Right. Because it would have been too restrictive for them, you know what I mean, within the rules of the CBA to keep him. And they, and they had to let KCP go after they won. And like it's the way the CBA is designed, you know what I mean? It's almost impossible, you know what I mean, to keep a team intact, you know what I mean, for any real amount of time. Yep. You have to draft well, and you know what I mean. That shit again. That's why once Tatum tore his ACL or his Achilles, rather, I'm sorry, Boston was like, all right, well, shit, yeah, okay, we gotta we gotta trade Kristaps Porzingis, and we gotta, you know what I mean, move this part. We gotta move cause shit, like if we're not gonna win a championship, it don't even make no sense for us to take on, you know what I mean, the penalties that are going to come with us paying all of these salaries. Like, which is how they found themselves in the situation that they did last year with a Jaylen Brown, you know what I mean, having them more competitive than almost anybody could have imagined. You know?
Especially now with the second apron. You know what I'm saying?
Right, exactly. Like, yeah.
Absolutely.
That adds a lot of pressure to these owners. And quiet as kept, a lot of these owners are no longer family owners. They're like, equity companies.
New equity,
so they're looking at this thing as a business. They're not looking at it as being like, you guys, I think R&B said it, like, the Bus family. Mm-hmm. They ran their team like a successful mom and pops.
They were the last family-owned team in the NBA in that way.
Yep. So all that is gone. I mean, even what they did with Dallas, like, we know for a fact they kind of finessed the NBA, and they got that number one pick. But when they got rid of Luka, before they got the number one pick, when they got rid of Luka, that it was an equity company that was like, look, do we really need him in Dallas? Like, we're trying to get this shit out here in Vegas. Like, we're trying to move this team to Vegas. You know, so they're looking at the bottom line. They're looking at business. And with all that being said, we're going to see a lot of parodies of this. You know what I'm saying? We're going to see a lot of teams switching up big time superstars because if they
And I
can't
think we're
keep
gonna
up,
see the game suffer too, Raj.
oh, of course, no, 100%.
Real quick.
Yeah, go.
And I should have mentioned this earlier because it's talks. So damn, what is his name? My man passed away. That was one of the software people with Bill Gates, created Microsoft and all that shit. And his
Steve Jobs?
family,
Not Steve Jobs.
not Steve Jobs. He was the owner of the Portland Trailblazers and the Seattle Seahawks. And his family ended up selling off both or whatever.
Oh, okay.
And the guy that bought the Trailblazers is already talking about like the possibility of moving them.
See, that's the first thing they do. That's the first thing they talk about. They talk about, oh, where can we go make more money? And you know what? I heard that. I heard they was trying to move the team to Seattle or Vancouver.
But look at it though. Who was the coach for Portland last year? What's my man? Thiago Splitter, right?
Yeah,
Thiago Splitter.
Did a hell of a job. And what did they not do? They did not extend him or
Didn't
hire
bring
him.
him back.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Then look what they did to the dude that they did bring in. What the fuck?
Right. And again, like they already talking about how the new ownership that made cuts in this place and that place. Like it would be. Look, I want to say that it ain't no way that the Portland Trailblazers would ever leave Portland, but I saw the Seattle Supersonics get taken away from Seattle. You know what I'm saying?
And Portland's not that big of a market.
I remember that.
Big of a market. Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And Portland is even smaller than Seattle. You know what I mean? And Seattle is as y'all know, as I'm sure y'all know, is like a basketball city. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. There's a rich basketball history in Seattle. Mm-hmm. Like, you know what I mean? Outside of the Supersonics, the high school, and you know what I mean? All of that. All the people who came through Seattle that ended up playing in the NBA. And you know what I mean? It was
the Pro-Am League they got up there, the Seattle Pro-Am League, all that stuff.
Yeah, like it would be crazy for the Portland Trailblazers to leave Portland. And look, and for me, Portland ain't on the level of the Bulls, the Celtics, the Spurs, and Utah. But I don't really fuck with Portland like that because Portland had a long ass winning streak against my Pistons until we beat them in the finals in 1990. They had beat us like 20 something times straight. Like, so I don't really fuck with Portland like that. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Speaking of, I don't want to take the moderator's chair real quick, but I gotta say this. Speaking of, we got the Portland Jailblazers back with Ja Morant.
But the one thing I will give Portland is they have always been, maybe up until like the recent years, they've always been a well-ran organization.
Yeah,
I agree. They treat their superstars good.
It looks like it's a possibility that they might be on the turn now, where it's not going to be ran so well anymore. That's what sucks about seeing all of these new equity owners and all of that type of shit like that come in, because it's no longer going to be about I've been saying this, fellas, but and I don't want to see it come to pass. I feel like a lot of this, the new way of doing shit, people try to trump the tradition too much. Tradition is what get us where we are. So when you get rid of tradition, you start getting rid of an old way, and sometimes it just don't work. And I'm afraid that some of these motherfuckers gonna start to come in, and we gonna see the game truly decline. It's not gonna be the same no more. We already starting to see it. Kids don't even watch and give a fuck about the game no more. They all they want to do is watch clips. They just want to watch clips on YouTube and stuff. They not really doing anything to try to engage the kids and stuff like that. It's just all a business. It's business, money. What about the fucking game? What about the fucking fans?
Let me ask y'all a question. So like NBA versus NFL, because there's still a lot more old money in the NFL than it is in the NBA. Like I really like kind of looked this up maybe a month or so ago. Like in the NBA, I've seen almost every single NBA team change ownership since I've been a fan of the NBA. I think it's maybe 5, 6, 7 teams that, you know what I'm saying, have been under the same ownership, you know what I mean, for that entire time. But almost every NBA team has changed ownership, you know what I mean, at some point over the course of that time. Where the NFL, you don't see NFL teams getting sold as much as you see NBA teams. I've seen some NBA teams have multiple owners, you know what I mean, in the time that
for
I've been a
sure.
fan of the NBA. Like, you know what I mean? In the NFL, so like the Moras, you know what I mean, the Rooneys, shit. The fucking Packers don't even have an owner. They publicly owned. Which is like, can you fucking imagine that in the NBA? You know what I'm saying? A publicly owned team or some shit like that. But
I would
like,
actually love that though. I would love that.
No, but you know,
But
I feel like
they done had Ted Thompson as their GM for a long time.
Yeah. And they had my man, what's his name? Was it Joe Wolf or something like that? Before that, something Wolf.
Did we lose him?
Who, me?
Lose who?
I don't know. It might have been on my end, but everybody went froze for like 10 seconds there.
Okay.
We're good.
Yeah, but I just, you know, I think with the younger ownership in the NBA, you know what I mean? And not that the NFL don't use numbers and data and stats, don't get me wrong. But, you know, it feels like the NFL is it's a lot harder for them to transition out of, you know what I mean, tradition. Like the NBA is a lot faster to change. And I think that got as much to do with, you know what I mean, the younger ownership, you know what I mean? That's a lot more data driven than, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of them, this ain't really a passion for them. It's a money game. It's a numbers game. You know what I'm saying?
Can I say this real quick about that?
I want to chime in after Raj too.
Real quick, I promise. I think the reason it's like that versus the NFL is because number one, you got to remember, even though the NBA been around like quote unquote 80 years, technically the merger happened 1970 something.
76, 77, something like that.
Yeah, like
yes, I think it was 76,
mid late 70s. So technically, the door of entry really didn't happen until about, I would say, probably the 1980s. Like the companies really start getting involved and the ownerships and stuff start really becoming a thing in the 1980s. So a lot of these teams were brand new in the 1980s. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like for instance, we talked about the Boston Celtics. Even though they've been in the NBA forever, it was still family owned. It wasn't like, you know, they had all these other different type of things. But with that being said, it's the fastest growing market as well. Like, even though NFL is like it's not even comparable. Like NFL got like trillions of dollars. But the reason I'm pointing it out is because everyone wants to be a part of it. Everybody's trying to get a piece of the NBA versus what they can get in the NFL. Because the NFL, we learned this from who was trying to buy the team they couldn't buy? Was it Trump? I think it was he tried to buy the
Trump. They blackballed Trump a couple times.
Yeah, so he
from,
said
getting in on the NFL.
Yeah, I'm talking about that's why he helped start the USFL, right?
Yes, correct. Yes, he started USFL because he got so pissed off that it became like a good old boys club at like the top level. Even he wasn't even allowed because he wasn't a part of that crew. So with that being said, I think the NBA, it's going to go through its dark ages. I think the dark ages are coming, and it's going to be because a lot of these teams are going to be so analytical driven and so focused on the bottom line, which is the dollar, that they're not going to focus on the actual product, what's on the court. And what's going to eventually happen is we're going to see a whole bunch of foreign players come in, and there's going to be a downturn with ratings.
What I wanted to chime in, kind of what Will was saying too, as far as with the NFL, you see more pass down in the NFL than you do in the NBA. You see, you know what I'm saying, the father might die off and then it'll go to the wife, until she die off, and then they might go to one of the
To
sons
the
or the daughter,
daughter, the
and
son,
they
yeah.
teach them. Yeah, they teach them how to run the organization, or how look at everybody always say, well, oh well, why don't none of the Jones brothers ever speak up against some of the stuff that Jerry do? They should stop him from doing this. They should stop him from doing that. They agree with the shit he do. They agree. It only one time that I can never remember that you heard what's the other son name? Is it Jimmy
Steven.
or is it Steven?
Steven,
Steven
Steven
come out and
Jones.
say something in the media where he didn't necessarily agree wholeheartedly with something that Jerry might have did or said. Other
Yeah,
than that,
there was a
they be
slight
on
pushback.
par because they're trained to be that way. Not to make it sound like that, but they're trained to be that way.
He probably do disagree with his pops behind the scenes, but that's his pop, so he's not gonna go to the media every
Exactly.
time. Like, you know what
Exactly.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But at the end of the
Man,
day, you know what I'm saying, I just think is that they train they pass that stuff down differently. For I don't know why it is, but for whatever reason, the pass down is just different in the NFL than it is in the NBA.
Yeah.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
well, we're gonna see. It's gonna keep going. It's got to go to someone, right? So moving along, now it's time to talk about something else that went down. I'm gonna give you a clue. I don't even know where it's sitting at. Yo, that was one of the greatest interviews ever. Like, yo, he goes, I'm a fun guy. Obviously, I love the game of basketball. I can't, y'all gonna have to ask me questions. I can't just give you a spiel. I don't even know where he's sitting at. that will never, that, like, there are certain things, the top three things for me that will never not be funny no matter how much I watch them is when DMX was on with Charlemagne the God, and they were like, do you like Drake? And he's like, no, I don't like anything about Drake. I don't like his face. I don't like the way he walks. I don't like nothing he talks about. That's number one. Number two was, you ever watch the video when they were doing We Are the World, and then Michael does his part, and the other people start singing, and he just stops.
And then they go to the white folk.
Yep, and then he just stopped and he looked at them like, he was upset. He was upset.
What the
There's
fuck?
that, and then Kawhi, top three. So R&B, I'm gonna start with you with this one. Obviously, Kawhi's been out Toronto, what, 7 years? He was a Clipper, 8 years, something like that. Right? No, 26. Yeah, like 7 years.
Yeah, he been.
Right?
Damn, boy, time be flying.
Yeah, because they won 2019. Yeah, so it's been about
2019,
7 years.
yeah.
Been about 7 years.
Damn.
Kawhi's return to the Clippers. Now, they gave up Brandon Ingram. He's 7 years older. In your opinion, does this, and we've seen what the Raptors did last season. We've seen Kawhi was healthier than he has been in recent years. Does Kawhi's return to Toronto come with an expectation, considering what he did the last time he was in Toronto?
That's a tough question. I got to give you credit, but I think I'm going to have to say it's 50-50 on that one. Because we all know when it comes to Kawhi, it's contingent upon his health. If he's healthy and balling, then yeah, I think there's going to be some expectations there, especially if they signed DeMar DeRozan, who got waived today, and it's already reported that he may be making a return back to Toronto. You know what I'm saying? That it will be expectations. But if he's hobbled and out and, only playing 30, 40 games, I don't really see what true expectation would truly be there, to be honest with you. But and I know you didn't really ask me about that, but I just got a hint on it. I just don't understand what the fuck. For one, Usai Ujiri is no longer there in Toronto, but I guess who they have now is trying to, mimic something of the past or something like that. But why would you trade a budding all star who just had a career year for you guys still in his 20s? He just had a career year for y'all, and you turn around and trade him for a guy. And I love Kawhi. Hey, we've done this show long enough for y'all to know that I love me some Kawhi Leonard. I
Yeah.
wanted the Pistons to go after him, but for
Yeah.
obvious reasons, I wasn't sitting up here saying, "Well, hell, let's trade Cade for Kawhi, or let's trade Durham for Kawhi." No, I wanted Kawhi to come and join them. I don't, I, you know, so if I would expect if you're gonna try to make a move, you should have been trying to make a move to try to pair Kawhi with Brandon Ingram versus shipping them out to the Clippers. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I hate to say it, but I think the Clippers won this trade because it's like, what are we doing here? You like you just said, Kawhi is injury prone as fuck and a whole 7 years older than a budding all-star who just had a career year for your franchise and helped guide you guys to the playoffs, and you moved on from him. I just I just don't understand that one, man. But that's where
And
I'm at on that one, bro.
and went to the playoffs and almost won in a deciding game 7.
Yeah.
On top of that, I mean, and to me, looking at Kawhi and just seeing the player he is, like I said, he was healthier this year than he has been in previous years. But we have to look at it, full circle. Like they're talking extension already from what I read before we came on the show, or they're going to talk about an extension this week. And this could be the final ride for Kawhi. This could be it. This could be all she wrote. So with that being said, Will, R&B answered it because I was going to ask you this anyway. He answered, but
my
who
bad.
won? No, you good. You good. You went in that direction. It's all good. Who won this trade? The Raptors or the Clippers? And who's in a better position in their conference to go into the playoffs?
This might be one of those rare trades where it's close to 50-50. Again, you like y'all already mentioned it, like BI is a much younger player. He got injury issues like Kawhi do. You know what I'm saying? But with the Clippers trying to go younger and, you know what I mean, kind of reboot what they doing, he makes sense for them. The Raptors are getting contract year Kawhi, which is always like a top 5 NBA player.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point in his career, I don't think he can get any more than like 2-year contracts, basically. So from here on out, he's always contract year Kawhi. So maybe that's a good thing.
Right.
He does have the type of game that should kind of age gracefully if he can just quote unquote stay healthy. Which, when it comes to Kawhi, that can mean a whole lot of different things. So like this is like a so this is like a both of them are kind of, I guess the Clippers are playing a longer game than Toronto, but for what Toronto is trying to do right now, it kind of makes sense. But they both, again, they both like it's not like neither one of them are gambling or rolling the dice. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is not a slam dunk for either team. Because again, Bi he didn't have injury issues, you know what I mean, over the course of his career too. So it's they you know what? I got 3 quarters over here. I got a quarter, four dimes, and a nickel. You want to trade them? All right. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's kind of like that to me. Like, they both are, they
Yeah.
both taking a gamble that makes sense for both of them.
Well, I think in a way, kind of to your point that that both teams aren't risking. I think if anything, Toronto risked a little more. So I would say, it's more to me, my opinion, more of like a 55-45, maybe a 60-40 split in favor of the Clippers because they did get a younger player and someone who's less injury prone, at least as it is now. You don't know what a player's future holds, but I concur to an extent that it's kind of like in the middle because it can go either way. Um, with that said, Raj,
Mhm.
what do you think these teams need to do? In any form, whether it's building or whatever the case may be. What do these two teams need to do to build off of this trade to improve? Because where they are now, both teams aren't. I wouldn't say they're gonna. I'd say they're playoff teams, but they're not contenders. What would help them go to becoming contenders, in your opinion?
Well, I want to say this. I want to say both of the trades I think was great for both of the teams. So they're already moving in the right direction. I think the Clippers got younger with Brandon Ingram. Also, Brandon Ingram did terrible in the playoffs. I just want to let you guys know that he averaged 13 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists, and he was shooting 32% from the field. So, and 38% from the three. So with that being said, that was a pretty bad um, situation for Brandon Ingram with the Toronto
That
Raptors during the playoffs.
quick
Yeah,
interjection though, Raj. Let's not forget this was his first real, playoff run as a player. This was his first time
yeah,
being in that situation. Not trying to give him a pass, just saying
right.
like this was sometime people had growing pains that this was his first time in that situation.
Which is very true because throughout the season he averaged about 25 points. Wait, let me see. I got to look it up again, but I think it was in the 20s. He averaged 20 plus points a game and shot pretty efficient during the regular season. So yes, I
Mhm.
agree with that. But I think it's one of those sell high type moments where you say, okay, what can we do to get our best player? And you guys remember that Kawhi gave them a ring. Toronto Raptors, I don't think they'll ever get another ring in my lifetime, our lifetime. You know what I'm saying? So I think it was kind of like that nostalgia type thing where they was like, look, let's run it back. Let's see what we can do. So it kind of benefited Kawhi as well. And Kawhi wanted to come to Toronto. See, Toronto's not a destination spot, especially during the winter. It gets freezing cold up there. Um, so Kawhi wanted to come back to Toronto. And on top of that, I think what they just got to do is just keep building, keep bringing in, solid players. Because as far as Toronto goes, Kawhi Leonard is going to be a mentor for somebody like Scotty Barnes. You know what I'm saying? He's going to help Scotty Barnes just like Kawhi helped at OG when he played on the team. And as far as the Los Angeles Clippers, the Clippers, they're the Clippers. You know what I'm saying? Like they're just trying to sell tickets at this point. They're not trying to win a championship. Um, and I think it's perfect because next season they're going to bring their young core in. They got what's his name, Garland. They got Garland. He's coming to play again. They got
Yeah.
Brandon Ingram, and they got some core pieces that's there. You know what I'm saying? So like Ben Matherin, I think is still on the team. So they got
Yeah,
some
Matthew.
nice pieces to kind
Is
of like
Bones
build around.
still there?
Who's that?
Is Bones still there?
I
Bones Highland?
believe I believe he is. Let me just double
They
check.
signed Hachimura too.
Yeah, Roy
Yeah, I
Hachimura.
Did
So
they?
they
seen they brought in
so
Rui.
So they just got to keep building in that direction, in my opinion. I think they're going to be a pretty solid team. They're not going to go for the championship, but I think they could be a playoff team every single season if they just keep together and build.
Yeah, I agree.
Bones is not there. Bones is he's with Timberwolves.
Okay. Well, we'll see what that trade brings. But I wanted to make sure I left enough time. Because you know who's last. You know, I couldn't start with this because it would take too much time. So I saved it for last. LeBron James Rogers. LeBron, my wife just looked at me like, wait, what?
Oh.
LeBron James Rogers. That is his name right now. The only difference.
Just call him LeBrogers.
LeBrogers. Only difference is he ain't need to go into a dark cave to figure out if he wanted to play. So, as we all know, LeBron James is a free agent currently. And I'm trying to sum up everything that I want to say before we start going around and, speaking on it. But he went out. He said, I respect he told the Lakers pretty early he wasn't coming back. He wanted to go somewhere else. Cool. No, not a problem with that. Told the Lakers move forward without me. So then from there we're here. You don't want to play there, and a lot of teams are trying to throw their name in the hat. I sent the list of at the time was 10 teams. Now I'm told it's down. Now from what I'm reading, I should say it's down to like 4. And I'm cool with the whole taking your time thing, honestly, to an extent. But here's where my problem comes in. And I wanted to say this. Your agent or manager, whatever, has a podcast, Max Kellerman.
Mm-hmm.
This nigga goes up there with a fucking whiteboard and starts doing diagrams of where you're going. Potentially. Diagrams. Well, we think this and that and that and that. And then in the same show says, I don't think this is going to happen anytime soon. And you have not heard anything from LeBron himself. At least I haven't. I can't speak for you guys. Rich Paul is keeping a tight mouth, as he should, as his client should announce these things. And now the speculation starts to begin. A lot of people believe that Draymond opted out to create more money so LeBron can go there. I'm hoping Draymond opted out and never comes back, but that's just a wish. Probably not going to happen. There's obviously speculation about a return to Cleveland, speculation about a return to Miami, speculation about going to the Sixers. The Timberwolves have been in the mix from what I've heard. There was a point the Knicks were in the mix and the Celtics were in the mix. Now, this question's for everybody. And I'm gonna start with you. Well,
if you don't mind, I just want to request to go first on this one because I'm gonna just answer short, quick, and I'm gonna head on out because I got to get back to this little family thing we over here doing at my sister's.
Okay. So go ahead. Where should LeBron James go, and why?
To the golf course to retire and stay there because I just don't think at this point there's anywhere he can for sure go and land where they're going to become instant title contenders of the teams that you name, because it's lacking pieces to every team that you just named. It's lacking pieces that they need in order to fill that roster out according to the teams that you just named that's left there. So I honestly I think LeBron should just go ahead and call it a career and take his ass to the golf course and retire. And that's where I'm at on it, gentlemen. I'll see y'all next week.
All right, bro. Thanks for joining us.
For sure, man. For sure. All right, I'll be in touch though.
All right, bro.
All right.
Well, so Will, go ahead. Same question.
I kind of agree with Ryan in the sense that I don't think that there's anywhere that he goes that's like a automatic championship.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't agree with the notion that like since it's not that kind of avenue that he shouldn't hoop if he want to hoop.
Yeah.
like if he want to hoop, go ahead and hoop. I don't give a fuck if he signed with Orlando or you know what I'm saying, Charlotte or whoever the hell. Like if he want to hoop, go ahead and hoop. Obviously, you know what I mean. I'm being a bit facetious. Like we know he's not gonna put himself in a bullshit situation. But just because even if there was a situation where we feel like it was like the immediate, opportunity to win in that way, like they will hold that against them anyway. So, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if he want to hoop, just go ahead and hoop. Figure out where you want to go. I feel like he done earned the right, you know what I'm saying, to take his time and pick his spot right here. Especially, not that he should have to, leave any money on the table, but if he's, like they're reporting, if he's, willing to take that minimum to make it work wherever, like, he got every right to sit back and, figure out the best possible situation for him.
What about you, Raj? Where should he play and why?
I don't know why he's playing hard to get. He didn't just go ahead, just pack his stuff, move up, move his stuff up to the Bay Area and just go play with Golden State. Stop playing, man. Stop playing. Just go. We're tired of the dragging us out decision part 2, type movie, Netflix type stuff. Just do it. I'm acting like Shia LaBeouf right now. Do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm so sick and tired of LeBron dragging stuff out. It's annoying. That's one thing I don't like about LeBron outside of the basketball court. Like, on the basketball court, I can't stand him. Off the basketball court, I tell you guys this all the time. He's a legend. But if there's one thing I criticize that's off the basketball court, besides him fake reading books, is the dragging out decisions. Dragging decisions is the worst thing he could possibly do because he tried to make this thing like it's a freaking movie. Go to Golden State, see where it goes, and then retire. That's it.
Does Golden State really give him a chance to win?
I mean, it gives you a better chance than any other. I mean, it gives you just as much chance as any other team. I'm not saying that it's a championship contending team, but it's one of those those moments where you're like, look, at least I played with Steph Curry. Damn it, let's see how it goes.
You see, all you guys answered that in a very disappointing way. I'm upset with all three of y'all. Very upset. I'll give R&B slack today because he's got more important things to that he's dealing with. But I respect y'all opinion. However, I believe personally there's two places he could go where he could potentially win.
Okay.
One of them went to the Eastern Conference Finals last year. And it ain't out the realm of him returning home and ending it where it began. It's never out the realm. We said on this show, at least I did, that we always criticized Cleveland and not getting there. If LeBron really willing to take a minimum, you don't think that team could go to the finals with him on it? I think they went to the conference finals without him. They got the same team, and we criticized them not changing the team and not doing shit. They didn't change the team, and they did something this season. Whether I think you add LeBron into that mix, that team has a legitimate shot to go to the finals. I really do believe that they can get there. Can they win it? That's another story. But I'm telling you, if LeBron decides to put on 2-3 and go back to Cleveland, Knicks fans, be afraid. Because, y'all was talking and talking. I've been hearing repeat. No team's done it in 8 years, and we going to be the first. LeBron goes back there, be afraid. The other team, in my opinion, just based on what we're looking at, if he's willing to take that minimum, it's Philly. Philly is scary. Like, we've talked about it. When you got Edgecombe and you got Maxey and Brown, and if you can get 60 games from Embiid and get him into the playoffs, he played. He did not get hurt in the playoffs this season. He played both rounds. I'm saying, is it guarantee a ring? No. But there is potential from him signing there that they can go to the finals at minimum and maybe even win. Those two teams. Now, obviously you have, you talk about Golden State. But Will, I agree. I don't think that gives them the best chance. To me, if I'm LeBron James right now, you've made money, right? You've made money through all the teams you've played on. You have a whole bunch of endorsements. You have a whole bunch of businesses. You have all these things that you can do, to make money. LeBron wants that ring. He wants one more. There's no doubt about it. He wants one more. He's broken every record that you can break. He's in the top 10 of every statistical category that there is. He is, no matter what anyone says, and this could be arguable, but statistically, he's arguably the greatest player of all time. Statistically. And he may not catch Jordan, but I can tell you, he at least wants to catch Kobe, because that one ring could put him. To me, it goes Mike, Kobe, LeBron. That one ring can put him from 3 to 2 in a lot of people's books, and that could be a lot for a player of his caliber. So I believe that those two teams are a good opportunity for him if he's looking to win. You don't sign for a veteran minimum just to keep playing. Like, what you gonna do? Just pad your stats? That's all he was doing on the Lakers, was padding his stats. He wasn't, he knew, did he try when they got to the playoffs? Of course, but.
So, let me ask you guys this question real quick.
Go ahead.
I want to be quick with it. So let's say he goes to Philly.
Okay.
Do you honestly believe they can beat OKC or the Thunder? I mean, OKC or the Spurs?
Do they?
With a healthy Embiid, yes.
Okay.
I agree. I think if Embiid's healthy, I believe they can win.
I disagree. And the reason I'm saying I disagree is because both of those teams, even with the healthy Embiid, they don't have no answer for what they added to the Spurs or what they added to the OKC Thunder.
We just saw Wemby get punked by OG.
Yeah, but they
And
added
you talk so when you talk about a healthy Embiid and Wemby having to guard him, like, you know what I'm saying, and you know what I mean, and try to score on him, you know what I mean, like, I don't know, bro.
I mean, yeah, you might say it's possible, but okay. Now let's say the other team, right? You said the Cavaliers. Do you honestly believe the Cavs can beat the OKC Thunder? And do you honestly believe they can beat the Spurs in the NBA Finals?
I think they can. Like,
I think it. If they ran it 10 times, I think Cleveland can win 3 or 4. Like
I
I
just
don't
don't
think it.
see
I don't think it's. You know what I'm saying. With LeBron, with Cleveland with LeBron, like you know what I'm saying. Like I don't think it's like that. This wide chasm or gap between them like that. You know what I'm saying.
I honestly I can't see it, and I'm saying that because even with the Knicks, right? The Knicks was a complete anomaly because they had figured out how to maximize all their specialty players. Which when you see people like OG tipping the ball, when you see players like Josh Hart going off, um, Jalen Brunson going off. Like they maximized all they could to beat the Spurs in 5 games. But if you take that same type of energy and put it with the Cavaliers, put it with the 76ers. Now keep in mind, this is a team that have not been together for a year. This is a brand new team, right? The Knicks been together for like I think 2 seasons total. The starting five, I think, been together for like 2 seasons. So with that being said, you're telling me they're going to come out of nowhere and go straight to the finals and win a championship out of nowhere? This brand new ass team.
I
I
mean,
just
but
don't.
no, Cleveland would not be a brand new ass team. It would be a team that's been together, like you just said about the Knicks for the last 2 years or a
That's
year and a
fair.
half. You
That's
know what I
fair.
mean? That's
That's fair.
that's adding LeBron.
That's
You know
fair.
right.
what I'm
But the
saying?
76ers are a new ass team with Jalen Brown
That would
and
be
That's
more
LeBron.
of
another
a new
story.
ass team. Adding Jalen Brown and LeBron to that, like that would
Right.
be, you know what I'm saying? Because
Because you're changing
this,
everything.
because this was really the first year that Maxey just kind of had the ball and was able to go like that. You know what I mean? And
Right.
that would be more of a, you know what I mean, situation where it's a lot more chemistry to kind of try to figure out.
Well,
Um,
And on top of that, I got one more thing. And on top of that, with Cleveland, you're telling me that you're going to take the ball out of James Harden's hand. So what the hell is he going to do? Stand around?
I'll say this: if LeBron is really serious about going back to Cleveland, I don't even need James Harden. I'll take LeBron. You know what I'm saying?
James
And,
Harden's
and,
not
and,
going nowhere.
and build from there.
Yeah.
No, look. I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying. I think they gotta, I think they gotta, even though they haven't signed anything yet. I think they already got some kind of agreement or whatever the case may be. But like I'm just saying, me. If I'm the general manager or president or whoever is, calling shots in Cleveland's front office, I don't need LeBron and James Harden. I would
Yeah.
rather have LeBron. And you
True.
know what I'm saying? What LeBron wouldn't have to take a minimum. I would, whatever it is that I'm in theory offering James Harden, I would offer that to LeBron.
Yeah.
I think the only thing is for them, for Cleveland, is LeBron. What if he hasn't said this is his last season, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I think that, he probably could play like this given health at this level, maybe 2 more seasons, right?
Mhm.
But let's just say he only signs for one and you've given up Harden, and Harden, can give you a couple more. It's going to give you a couple more. Like
Look,
now
it
you're
wouldn't
losing.
surprise me if James Harden fell off a cliff this season. Like I don't, I don't. If you told me LeBron could give you 3 more, I'm not even gonna say seasons at the level that he played last year, but just like you know what I mean, 3 more seasons where there's just slight decline over the course of the years, but he's still basically like all-star caliber ish.
Mhm.
I would believe that. If you told me James Harden was going to average 20-6 next year, I could believe that. If you told me he was going to average 12-2 and only play 48 games, you know what I'm saying? And for some reason end up away from the team halfway through the year, I could believe that. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I don't like it's the floor is much, 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 much higher with LeBron for me in my eyes. You know what I'm saying? With James Harden, you know what I'm saying? I'm not even gonna say the ceiling is higher. I feel like it's more of a baseline with what I'm gonna get from LeBron. With James Harden, I just feel like I'm rolling the dice. I don't know
Right.
what it's gonna be. Because when they needed him to be again, when it came down to it, James Harden did playoffs. James Harden did playoff James Harden shit. Like, so,
Dude just disappears.
dude. So
Invisible Man Act.
Well, he told us who he was when he went to the finals with OKC. You know, with him, Westbrook, and KD, and in that series against Miami, he was gone. Averaged like 6 points when you were averaging like 18 off the bench, like you were like the sixth man of the year, and then you went from 6 man to 6 points. Like
6 men, 6 points.
and I just, like I said, I just think that for me, the other thing is just to R&B's point was I don't think LeBron should just retire. Like, I don't care what anyone says. I'll die on this cliff. LeBron deserves a celebration. LeBron deserves to go out celebrated by the fans and whomever else he wants to be celebrated by. Kobe went out that way, like
And that's why I said he should go to Golden State.
why? What's one have to do with the other?
But he don't have to go to Golden State to get that. Like, wherever he goes, if he announces that it's his last season, he could be playing for the fucking Pelicans. Like, you know what I'm saying? If he announced that it's his last season, he gonna get his farewell tour. Like, because he's LeBron James. It don't have to be in Golden State. Golden State don't, you know what I mean? Being a Warrior don't necessarily enhance that.
I think it does, because the fact that he would play for a legacy organization. If he stays there, let's say he plays next season for the Golden State Warriors, right? And let's say somehow, some way they win the championship. They win the NBA championship. His jersey is going to be retired, not only in Cleveland, not only in Miami, not only in Los Angeles, but also in Golden State. They're going to retire his jersey if he wins a championship with them. And I say that because even though we look at Golden State is just like, okay, it's still Steph Curry's team. Steph Curry never played with somebody like LeBron that can absorb so much of the media attention, the magnitude of being an actual like super. Him and LeBron right now are at the same level when it comes down to like superstardom. So I'm saying that because if he go to damn Cleveland, that shit is boring as hell. If he goes to the 76ers, that's boring. Nobody gonna be talking about that on ESPN.
Wait, no. But no, you don't get to bring up the, you know what I mean, the fact that the Warriors are, like a top tier franchise, and they only just got there in the Steph Curry era. Whereas the 76ers are considered, even though they ain't won shit since 84, you know what I'm saying? They are considered one of those top tier franchises. They are a historical franchise. So if he was to get the 76ers their first championship since Doc and Moses, that would carry a lot more weight than helping Steph Curry win a championship in Golden State, where Steph Curry has already won 4 championships in the last 10 years.
And now you're solidifying it even more, because if both of them win 5 rings, both of them can retire at the same damn time with 5 rings.
But wouldn't he want to have the one up on Steph? Why would he want to tie Steph?
Because he's already tied with Steph.
Well, why would he want to help him keep the tie?
Right,
because we look, guys, we know that Steph Curry is not mentioned in that conversation, right? We know when we talk about the GOATs, he's like top 4, maybe top 5, depending on who we talk to, right? Because you got Jordan, you got LeBron, it can be interchangeable. Then you got players like Kareem, all the other players like that. And then, of course, top 4, you'll put Steph Curry there. You want to put Steph Curry in the top 3.
You're saying all time?
I'm talking about when we talk about GOATs. Like, look, you got Jordan, you got Kobe, you got LeBron, right?
Okay.
LeBron has told us multiple times that he feels like he's the GOAT. And
Right.
so again, I can't imagine that he wants to be tied with Steph Curry. I would imagine that he wants one up on Steph Curry because just like Shaq wanted one up on Tim Duncan, because that was his rival of his era. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I get it.
I can't
as far as
imagine that LeBron is like, ooh, me and Steph need to both have 5, bro. Like,
I know, but all right. And you know what? And I would say I would agree with that if there was no rumors of him actually going there. You get what I'm saying? If there was no serious rumors of Sham saying, yo, if they can get Anthony Davis, it's a done deal. If there was no serious conversation, because we know how LeBron gets down. LeBron, he's not about that, competition where I want to be better than this. No, he's the GOAT, and he knows he's the GOAT in some people's eyes, not mine. But he also wants to do the things his way. When he joined Miami, he joined with D-Wade and Bosh. We never seen anything like that. We never seen Jordan just jump ship and say, yo, I'm going to join Charles Barkley and, Clyde Drexler. Like, nah, hell no.
But free agency, as we know it, also didn't exist for a nice portion of his career. And when it did, he hit the fucking Bulls up for 25, 30, and 35 million on 1-year contracts. Like people like to say that shit. Like Mike would never, Magic would never, Bird. They didn't have the opportunity because free agency didn't exist like that. It didn't exist at all until I think 1987, and then it kind of evolved. You know what I'm saying, over time. So like they didn't think like that because it wasn't something that was an option that was available to them. In '98, when the Bulls, said they wasn't gonna bring Phil back and they traded Scotty, and all of that coming out in the lockout, so that was really 99 because there was no 98-99 season. It was 99 on the shortened season. He investigated playing for other teams, among them the New York Knicks with Patrick Ewing.
Yeah,
like this is a real thing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So like it's not like but Mike was at that point he was making 35 million. He just made 35 million, which was more than the salary cap, if I'm not mistaken. If I remember this right. If it's not more than the salary cap, it was damn near the whole salary cap. So he wasn't about to take a pay cut to go play for anybody else, which is how more so why he ended up retiring. Even Mike considered, going and signing with other teams and explored, the possibility. It didn't happen. You know what I'm saying? But even he, explored the possibilities when it was an option that was available to him. So,
and the other thing is too, what I think that we have to understand, and I think people still have a hard time understanding this with certain things and aspects in sports and in music and whatever else, is things evolve, right? Like they don't stay the same. Back at that time, like you said, players didn't have that option, but the competitive nature was different too, because in my opinion, they didn't have the endorsements and all these other outlet ways to make money. How did they make money? On the court.
I don't think it was that. I think the fact that for the most part players stayed with the same team meant that you had the same teammates more often than not from season to season, which means that you played against the same players season in and season out, which is why there were more, like at some point it was more like, it got to a point where rivalries only mattered in the playoffs, but there were also like regular season rivalries amongst teams, like, not conferences, divisions really mattered when you were playing. You know what I mean? The people in your division 5-6 times a year. You know what I'm saying? Like when it was less teams in the league, and it wasn't. I think they played 3-4 times a year now. When you played them teams 5-6 times a year, and it was the same guys. You know what I mean? Other than a trade here or a trade there, because again, it wasn't free agency, it wasn't movement from team to team like that. Like you was going to battle with the same guys against the same guys. You know what I mean? Over and over and over again. Like shit. I don't think the people who really are about that basketball, like shit, our most competitive games is probably on the playground. You know what I'm saying? We done been willing to fight over a basketball game on the playground. I don't think the money necessarily, like I'm sure for some people it do. I'm not acting like it don't. But I I don't just subscribe to the notion that just because people start making, like, you can still make money and still be passionate about your shit. Like
Oh yeah.
a lot of the physicality that we talk about, that we subscribe to the idea of, you know what I mean, being competitive and being physical and it's been legislated out of the game. They changed the rules. And if you keep doing the shit that they used to do, you're not gonna find yourself on the court very often. If at all. If you even in the league. Like they legislated
Right.
all of that shit out of the game. But I don't think that's necessarily an indictment on people's competitive nature. You know what I'm saying? Because we still see it. We still see it.
Yeah. Well, and then the other thing too is loyalty. Like, the teams also, they're not loyal to the players either. Back
No.
then, they were more loyal. Like I remember this one specifically. DeMar DeRozan, Toronto flew him to Vegas. The Raptors flew him to Vegas to have a meeting. He said he did not want to go nowhere. He wanted to stay there. He wanted to finish his career there. Man, the next day, or maybe even a couple days later, he found out they traded him to San Antonio.
Mm-hmm.
And, they're just, so I believe that also kind of to the conversation we had earlier when we were speaking about Jaylen Brown, is the league became more business savvy. It came, there was always a business aspect, but once again, to my original point, evolution, it became more business than anything else.
The league was always savvy enough to present it as, it's just business for us, but you guys should be loyal. Where's your loyalty? Like, you know what I'm saying? They created that narrative. You know what I'm saying? It came from them. And my go-to story is Blake Griffin re-upping with the Clippers. They walked him, you know what I mean, through, you know what I mean, their arena and showed him his jersey and the Raptors, and, you know what I mean, re-signed him to that big extension, and then traded his ass to the Pistons. You know what I'm saying? 2 months later. Man, it can't just be business when it's the teams, man. Like, I don't, you know what I'm saying? I can't be mad at the players for treating it like the business that it is.
Well,
and
no,
again,
no.
People want the players to treat it like a business when they want them to treat it like a business, but they want them to be loyal when they want them to be loyal. Like, nah, that's not how that works.
Yeah, but every situation's different. That's the unfortunate circumstance. Two things in this case cannot be the same, because every situation and trade is different, and signing and all that. When like I said, I mean, let's look at, for example, when David Stern blocked Chris Paul from going to the Lakers.
Mm.
I mean, it's kind of like, just like, damn, why'd you do that? like what was the rhyme or reason behind it? And I think that he felt, and I can't remember if I had read this or something like that, but he felt like that trade would have shifted the weight of the league. It would have brought in something that was different. And to me, it's kind of like, damn, Like you're telling the teams they don't have the freedom to do this. And now you look at the league, don't matter. Where whoever wants to go, they can go wherever they want to go.
I mean, well, but see, that's okay. Two things. That was
Was that
about
05?
that was about no, that was after Brian. That was after Brian went to Miami, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. That was after Brian went to Miami because that whole thing was about freedom of move. Like, you know what I mean?
I'm
The
gonna look it
owners
up.
did. The owners, I could be wrong, but the owners didn't want the players moving around and signing, you know what I mean, these big free agent deals or whatever after they didn't drafted them. And they were coming because they was coming out of a lockout when that happened.
2011.
That LeBron signed with Miami in 2011, right? 2010. 2010.
I think so.
He signed with Miami in 2010 because they lost to Dallas in the 2011 finals, right? And then won 12 and 13 and lost to San Antonio in 14. So again, that whole thing was about owners being pissed off that players were going and signing these free agent deals elsewhere. And they came out of that lockout, and David Stern's thing was owners was pissed because, and I heard Mark Cuban talk about this. He couldn't let that trade happen after all these owners were pissed about players kind of getting what they want and getting their way. And then immediately coming out of the lockout, Chris Paul is getting traded to the fucking Lakers. The team that, according, you know, in all the other owners' eyes, always get the players that they want anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it was a lot of politics, you know what I mean, wrapped up in that particular situation. And you know, the NBA was running, technically the NBA owned the Hornets at that time, which means that the 29 other owners, well, 28 owned it. It was 30, 28, 29, how many ever teams? Because I don't remember if it was 30 teams in the league, but you know what I'm saying? They had the right to say no to that trade. Because technically they were all partners in ownership of that team at that time. The team didn't have an owner. So it was a lot of politics and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Always.
With that particular situation and that particular trade.
Absolutely. Wow. We're about at that mark. Raj, you have anything you want to add in here before we get rocking and rolling here?
That's it. No, nothing to add.
All right. Well, we all made it here, you know, by the grace of God. You know, we'll be back next week. I guess we'll discuss in the thread what day we're gonna do. I guess we'll just revert back to the Sunday schedule for now, if that's what works. But we're here. We got through another one. Hope everyone has a great week. Hopefully, Will, you get some rest because you was knocked out. My man. I said, let me call him, wake him up because he's out cold.
Hey, all I know is I showed up early finally today, and nobody else was around. so I thought I would just catch me a little micro mini nap.
Yeah, I got home. My day was going so good. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get out by 5. Well, I didn't get out until 6. So I got home 6:30. I showered. I had to eat something because I knew we was gonna be on the whole 2 hours, and I was like, I'm not gonna make it through a whole show without eating. I'm gonna get grouchy and irritable. So let me eat. Just go on a little late, you know. We got through it. So all right, everyone have a good week. We'll be in the thread, and we will see you guys next week. Peace.
Peace.
All right, fellas.
Yes, sir.